Both of them burst outside. Darkness swallowed them whole, like the gaping mouth of an abyss. The wind howled through crooked rooftops. The ground trembled. Every shudder felt as if the town itself was breathing, gasping, alive, a monstrous thing. Elias clutched Harris's hand, voice tight, urgent. Don't stop. Father Anselm will hold it back. We have to reach safety. Harris turned his head. For a fleeting moment, he caught a glimpse of silver fire, the cross blazing in the smoke. Then, gone, snuffed out. A scream tore across the sky, echoing like a hammer against stone. Harris's chest seized, Father Anselm facing the demon alone, and maybe already lost. They sprinted down the main street. Shapes staggered out from the houses, hollow-eyed, bodies jerked like puppets tugged by strings of shadow. Harris froze mid-breath. Stillwater's people, friends, neighbors, now only husks. Elias yanked him into a narrow alley, snuffed out the oil lamp. In the gloom, his whisper cracked. Michael, he's no longer human. He opened the gate for the thing beyond. Father Anselm warned us, once he chooses a host, this town becomes an offering. Harris stared at him, heart pounding. Then why me? Why is he hunting me? Silence. Only the wind whistling through the alley like bones grinding. At last, Elias raised his head, eyes heavy with pain and hate. Because you saw. You're the only one alive who's witnessed what he really is. You know the truth, and those who know too much become a threat. Harris staggered back. No words. In his skull, a whisper slithered, icy, intimate. You should not have known, Harris. To know is to die sooner. He clutched his head, trembling. Elias seized his shoulders, voice sharp. You must endure. If you fall, it's over. Father Anselm believed you're not just a victim, you're the key. Then a blast ripped through the air. The earth shook. A column of red light shot skyward from the prison and died out. Both men froze. Harris felt it deep inside. Father Anselm was gone, or worse, claimed by the darkness. A laugh drifted on the wind, distant, yet whispering right into their ears, how far can you run? Harris didn't need to look. He knew. Michael had broken free, and he was coming. Elias dragged him forward, spitting each word. The abandoned church, it still holds the old seal. Move. Harris glanced back. Darkness rolled over the street, swallowing lamps, rooftops, everything. His breath hitched. For the first time he understood, he wasn't just running from fate, but straight into it. They ran. Streets blurred past, twisted and ruined, until there it was. The church, its broken dome, the tower leaning like a snapped neck. Stained glass windows shattered, glinting in moonlight like a demon's eyes. As they neared, the air grew heavy, breathless. The wind stopped. From the trees came whispers, hundreds of voices murmuring in the dark. A murder of crows exploded from the roof, shrieking hoarse warnings into the night. Elias gripped Harris's hand tighter, his tone grim. We're here, and it knows. From the forest's edge came the sounds. Shuffling feet, teeth grinding, claws dragging through dirt. Harris swallowed hard, eyes wide. The air itself seemed to clot, thick, oppressive, waiting to strike. The church doors creaked open by themselves, slow, prolonged, like a groan of grief. A breath of cold air seeped out, carrying with it the stench of rusted iron and old, dried blood. Harris shivered. He knew they had crossed into the ground of sealed secrets, and the hunter was close behind. Dawn was near. The last pale moonlight still lingered on the cold sky. Harris and Elias collapsed, breathless, before the rusted gates of the abandoned church, a relic of stone and shadows, standing lonely among the wild fields. The rotten wooden doors groaned as the wind pushed through. A sound like distant mourning. The walls scarred with moss, the holy statues shattered, their hollow eyes staring down, as if watching their every step. Harris pressed a hand to his chest. His heartbeat thundered. For a fleeting moment, he felt this was no sanctuary, but an open grave waiting for him. Elias tugged on his sleeve, whispering, Father Anselm once said, this place was sealed. Beneath the church lies the Black Cross, the only thing that can stop Michael. Harris scanned the ruins, his eyes caught on a broken stained glass window, and froze. Outside, the mist was rising, thick, heavy, curling around the church like a shroud, and within it, figures, shadows of the dead, wandering, bones creaking, empty eyes fixed on them. The air turned to ice. Then a church bell tolled, slow, hollow, But the bell's rope had snapped years ago. The sound slammed into Harris's chest like a hammer. He choked on his breath. Elias paled, shrinking against the wall. No, that bell, it isn't human. It means he's close. Harris clenched his fists, summoned what courage he had left, and shoved the wooden door open. Inside, only darkness. The stench of rot clung to the air. The stone floor cracked with old scars, bleeding shadows. They stepped inside, and the doors slammed shut behind them. A thunderous bang, locked, trapped. In the dark, Harris heard it. A voice, familiar, cold, slithering down his spine. You think you can hide? In the house of God, Harris? Laughter. It rolled across the walls, low and rotting. Candles on the altar flickered to life, but their glow burned red, blood red, like the fires of hell. Harris glanced at Elias. The boy's eyes trembled with fear, yet refused to break. They both knew. This wasn't refuge. This was the battlefield. Elias pulled out an old parchment etched with ancient symbols. His voice shook. If we can find the Black Cross, there's hope. But if we can't, Harris cut him off, his breath steady. Then this will be where we die. And then it came. A sound from outside. Knocking, slow, heavy, something dragging claws across the church door. Michael's whisper slid against Harris's ear. Closer now. So close. You will never escape, Key. Harris flinched. He whipped around. But behind him was only a wall of suffocating darkness. The whole church seemed to shiver, with every claw scratching at the door. Michael. He was here. Yet strangely, even as the growls and the tearing of wood echoed sharp and clear, the heavy wooden doors never burst open. A freezing draft seeped out from the broken black cross on the altar, a dim, unnatural glow. It rose like a wall, invisible, holding Michael back. Outside, the wind howled higher, merging with ghostly wails, rattling every stained glass window until they quivered in their frames. Michael roared in rage. The sound shook the night, but no matter his strength, some sacred force was binding him, stopping him at the threshold. Harris and Elias gasped for breath, backs pressed tight against the wall. Then the floor trembled. The stone beneath their feet cracked open, fissures spreading like veins, ready to swallow them whole. Elias raised his candle. The light caught something strange, a stone slab, marked with ancient sigils. His hands shook. He shoved hard. The slab slid, heavy, grinding aside, revealing a spiral staircase, descending into the earth. This is the passage Father Anselm spoke of. Elias whispered, no time to think. He dragged Harris down into the dark. The air below was damp, suffocating. Moisture clung to their skin. And still, Michael's voice bled through the cracks in the stone. Not one, but hundreds of voices, hissing, laughing, whispering. They went deeper. At the end of the tunnel, a wooden chest caked in dust waited. Harris strained, lifted the lid. Inside, scraps of rotted cloth and one book. Heavy, bound in dark leather, locked with rusted iron. Elias reached for it. The carved symbols on its cover writhed under his fingers, needles of pain stabbing into his skin. We can't read this, Elias stammered, sweat cold on his brow. Harris clenched his jaw. Put it away, it doesn't belong here. They shoved the book into a sack and retraced their steps. At last, they climbed out of the pit, and then, light. The first rays of dawn pierced through the shattered glass. The wind fell silent. The claws, the howls, the whispers, gone. The village outside lay still once more. Empty houses, gray streets drowned in fog, no living soul, only the lonely caw of a crow echoing above the church roof. Harris and Elias stumbled out through the heavy doors, exhausted, broken, but in their eyes a glimmer of hope. They had survived. Yet both men knew the truth. Michael had not vanished, and the book they carried was a spark that could ignite a nightmare far greater than before.